Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. How are you guys? What's up? We're back with that freaky visual novel that Hitomi is playing. Because it seems no one actually remembers the title of this game. Everyone is just like, oh, is that freaky visual novel? Yeah, fair enough. Yes, it is. I was gonna say something more and I forgot. Buy my merch. An unexpected ad is always good, right? Isn't that freaky cut like 3 minutes ahead in the stream? It's not. Okay, but there's one good sign. The game did not disappear from my taskbar today, nor did Steam crash. Somehow, me starting to stream today was really smooth. It's almost suspicious, you know? Things went too good. Too well. Too well. However, let's see where we stopped. I feel it's a bad sign. Let us hope that's not the case. Let us live in bliss. Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm cracking so well today. I'm also munching on a Kaiser roll, and I was so fucking lazy that I just put butter, like I didn't cut it, I just put butter on top of it. Anyway, let's get, I was gonna say gaming, but I guess let's get reading! I heard an annoying girl calling out to me as I left the school building. That's your sister! I heard an annoying girl. Jesus! Nanami ran up to me with a trash can in her arms. She seemed to be in the middle of taking out the garbage. Why'd she have to bother me then? I tried to ignore her and leave, but as always, refused to let me go. So nice. Don't mind me munching. I hope you guys don't mind. Nanami yanked on the hem of my blazer.
妹見て逃げるなって何度言えばわかるの？
なんだよ。
なんだよじゃないよ。お兄が逃げるからナナもつい追いかけちゃうんじゃん。
Don't run after me if you don't even have anything to talk about.
相変わらず家に電話かけてこないし、まあナナはもう諦めたけど、どうせお兄が真面目に連絡入れてくるとは思えないもんね。
Good, you understand. That's the kind of intellect I want to see in my little sister. Not that I need a 3D little sister at all. You need a 2D little sister? That's still kind of weird. That's still kind of weird.
というわけで、これからも定期的にナナがお兄の部屋に様子見に行くから。感謝してよね。
Crap, I should have known that was how this was going to end up. Want somebody rid of me of this obnoxious little sister. No, if that wasn't possible, I at least wanted to get back at her a little. I wanted to get back at her for a long time, actually. Wait, I had an idea. I had a plan that I had been working on for a while. This was my chance to put it into practice. Maybe it will give me a little bit of vengeance. So, my throat feels almost normal today, finally. Like, I feel like I can read this and my throat feels open, if that makes any sense. I looked around to make sure no one was watching and then beckoned Nanami to follow me into the yard.
何？
ちょっと来てくれ。
なんで？ なんかあるの？
Man, she was annoying. Can you just shut up and follow me?
ななみに大事な頼みがある。
え、頼み？お兄が？なのに？
Her eyes were wide with shock.
珍しいじゃん、お兄が頼み事なんて。
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't know if you guys could hear the burp, but...
とにかく黙ってついてこいって。
あ、ちょっと待ってよ。
There weren't that many people in the yard. At lunchtime, it was filled with students eating lunch. Nobody but the gardening club would bother coming here after school, though.
で、頼みって？
She put her trash can down and looked at me with a smile.
条件はマクで汚りね。その条件飲んでくれるんなら、本当は嫌だけど、お兄の頼み聞いてあげる。
She was so annoying. I didn't think she'd want me to pay a price for it. Especially since I already bought her MacD's. Well, whatever.
わかった。おごる。
え、本当？今日のお兄、いつもと違うね。
I was actually lying though. Sir. Sorry. Sorry. How do you read that? Sorry. Sorry for being a liar. LOL. LOL. I hate this man so much. I hate this man with a passion. I have a passion specifically for hating this man. I handed Nanami my cell phone. Then I asked her to call the number 03X733X991, the one that had prank called me.
着歴の番号にかける？相手は誰？
ネットの知り合い。
She looked at me suspiciously, so I came up with the most plausible sounding lie I could.
どうして7がかけるの？
かければわかる。
なんか企んでない？
Jeez, would you shut up? Just shut up and do what I tell you. If you can't do that, then leave. I don't need you for anything.
じゃあもうお前には頼まない。
I love, like, how confident he sounds in his brain, and then he sounds like such a pussy when actually speaking. Like, he's like, shut the fuck up, I don't need you. And it's like, oh okay, fine. I tried to take the phone back, but Nanami pulled her hand away from me.
あ、わかったって。かけるよ。かければいいんでしょ？ほんと、わがままなお兄だな。
You don't get to talk. I held back my anger and gulped as I waited for her to call the number. Nanami innocently put the phone up to her ear and waited for someone to answer. I could see the yellow bangle on her wrist as she held up the phone. That was the one I gave her, or more precisely, that she had taken from my room. She was wearing it to school? Did she like it that much? The cheap bangle I got for free? Nanami really did have terrible fashion sense. Maybe I was one to talk, though. No, that wasn't important right now. Who was going to answer the phone? Some scary Dokyun guy? I hoped it was just a prank and had nothing to do with Shogun or Yua.
あ、もしもし？
Someone seemed to have picked up. Nanami had spoken to the receiver. But she soon furrowed her brow, and she offered the phone back to me.
お兄。
I can't wait to find out what it is.
なんだ。
なんだじゃないよ。 現在使われてませんって言ってるよ。
Okay, she sounded so angry. I thought it was gonna be like a prostitute or something.
Eh?
I took the phone and put it up to my ear, and what I heard was,
おかけになった電話番号は現在使われておりません。番号をご確認の上、もう一度おかけ直しください。
it was true. Maybe it really was just a prank then. Maybe whoever was behind it would just call a bunch of random numbers and prank them before ditching the phone and number they were using? That was a lot of work for a prank. Well, it wasn't my problem. Now that I knew the mysterious call was just a prank, I felt much safer.
ねえ、一体何なの？
もうお前用なし。
I left Nanami behind and started to walk, but Nanami followed after me.
どういうことか説明してよ。
Shut up.
お前掃除中だろ。ゴミ箱置きっぱなしだぞ。
ね、でも説明聞いてないもん。
僕は帰る。
Nanami grabbed me, but I ignored her and started to quickly walk toward the school gate.
お兄、じゃあマクディおごる約束だからね。ちゃんと覚えといてよ。
知るか。
ちょっと嘘ついたの？
まあな。
He's so... Oh my god, did I leave my phone downstairs? I don't feel like going downstairs to grab it. Maybe I'll do it later. I just realized. Fuck. It was the worst attempt for revenge ever attempted. Nanami pouted, but I kept walking.
お兄のバカ！
She screamed loud enough for everyone to hear. I looked back, annoyed, and she was glaring at me, shoulders heaving with rage.
お兄なんて携帯の電磁波の影響で脳みそスカスカにされて死んじゃえ！
I love that threat so much. I hope the radiation from your phone fries your brain and you die. It's so much funnier when it's coming from the person who was the reason that we even got the phone in the first place. Ooh, I'm gonna make you buy a phone so that the 5G waves fry your brain. Actual evil mastermind. I doubt there's any brain left to be fried. So true. Thank you for the stretch, Melta. Let's break some bones. Oh. Ooh, that was good. Oh. My ribs popped. That was good.
にゃにゃにゃ。
Crap. Thanks to Nanami's yelling, I was starting to attract attention. I had to go unnoticed at school. What an obnoxious little sister. I headed for the gate at a jog, ignoring her. The best move at a time like this was to run. I could hear her screaming even outside the gate. Manga darake. There was an artist I liked called Higashi Matasama. Higashi Matasama, super famous, and his circle had huge lines at every event they attended. I'm surprised circle does not have blue text to explain to you what it is, because they explained it SRY, which is just short for sorry, but it didn't feel like they have to explain Dojinshi Circle. His new Bloodtune Dojin, which had come out in the summer, had sold out in an instant. I wanted to go, but those events were always way too crowded for me. I had reluctantly given up. I thought that I could just buy it from Manga Daraka, but I had been naive. They'd sold some copies there, but they were gone in minutes. The things were going for tens of thousands of yen above retail online. Freaking net resellers, I hoped they would all just die. I thought I'd have to give up entirely. But on Achan yesterday, I had happened to see a post saying that Manga Daraka had gotten a new shipment in. That's why I had come right after school.
神様、奇跡を起こしたまえ。
I said a silent prayer in front of the shop and headed inside. I searched the Dojinshi corner as thoroughly as I could. I went back and forth again and again, searching and searching. But I couldn't find it. Sob. The usage of a cow emoji in here is killing me. Was it sold out already? I glanced quickly at the register. The cashier was a girl. She wasn't very cute, but she looked friendly. Asking a cashier if they had something in stock was an extremely high-level technique and one I had never used in my life. Oh my god. Extremely high-level technique. Water, 1 second. Sorry, I got a really bad toothache, and I'm trying to wait for it to pass. Yeah, I've been having this, like, issue, which I really should get checked out again. But basically, like, on one of my tooth, the gum slightly detached. And sometimes, usually when I'm eating, like, something that can have very tiny pieces, like, for example, I'm eating bread and has crumbs, you can get food in the middle between the gum and the tooth, and that is an insane pain. I hope you guys never have to experience that. It's horrible. And usually, if I just, like, rinse it with a lot of water, or maybe, like, massage it out, like, I can get the food out and it's fine. But I still, even after that, have to sort of wait, like, a minute and just dissociate, waiting for the pain to stop. It's not pleasant. The reason was simple. I didn't have the courage. Especially since Higashi Matsama's new dojin was called Seiratan's Extreme Cost. Not a chance! That sounds so uncomfortable. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's literally as if someone took a needle and stabbed you right in the gum. Like, there are so many nerve endings that you have, like, at the bottom of your tooth. So if anything gets there, it's so bad. Because I once, earlier this year, I ended up in, like, there's this. I don't think it's called this. I don't think it's necessarily ER for like it's not necessarily dental ER. It's more like dental emergencies ward thing, where it's sort of like if you are in like immense pain and you can't wait for an appointment, you just go there. And I was just told that like they rinsed it out and they were like, oh, just be careful and you might need to like rinse it out with water and eventually like it'll be fine. Well, some time has passed and it's not fine. It's better than it was when like that issue started, but like it still happens and I have to like try to like consciously not bite with like that tooth whenever I'm eating anything that is like crumbly, you know? It's very bothersome. And I think the worst thing is when it happens when I'm eating something at work, because then I don't necessarily feel comfortable to just put a finger into my mouth and try to like dig in there, right? So I have had situations where I'm like eating a sandwich in an office kitchen and just trying to like keep the tears in and trying to pretend everything is fine, just trying to rinse it out with water in my mouth, trying to keep casual. Well, I'm like literally like in so much pain, I feel like I want to scream. It's great. It's great, chat. Thank you so much for the follow, Branya. Welcome to the galaxy. Hope you enjoy it here. I'm sorry that you came in just as I was talking about something extremely traumatic. And then there's Mai, who just fishes for my suffering. This is the usual Hitomi content. Anyway. I asked a female cashier that I would look like a pervert. Yeah, not happening. You have to go up to a cashier to buy the thing anyway. You're gonna look like a pervert anyway. Chad, did you ever buy, like, physical porn? Be honest. A physical, even doujinshi, you know, actual DVDs, whatever. Did you ever pay for physical porn? You're retelling that? Just replace the cat grabbing head gif in my head. Imagine that emotion, but like tenfold. That's more appropriate. I think I've only ever paid for physical porn once. There is one... there is one doujinshi I imported all the way from Japan that is on my shelf. I shall never share what exactly it is. That is between me and God alone and the poor guy in customs who was checking my package, I guess. Because, of course, when I decide to order very specific porn from Japan, that's what customs decided to... I know they opened up the package and checked what was in there. So, my condolences, dude, for having to see that. The poor guy got traumatized. Or maybe it awakened something in him. You never know. But yeah, the one... I'm not gonna say exactly what it is, but the reason why I got it is because usually I'm not really interested in those like tiny doujinshi books that are like 16-20 pages. But an artist I like did a sort of compilation of his works in like one bigger book. And I thought that was cool. So I got that. I almost bought that one figure of Aoba from Dramatical Murder, but I didn't have enough at the time. That one? There's multiple... Wait. Is it the one with an... removable penis? Or is it the one where he's on a cross? Because those are separate ones. Or maybe there's multiple with a removable penis. I don't even know actually where to look for them because like my figure collection doesn't put the like rated 18 ones. Are you talking about the what? No, but is it because I think there's two. I'm looking it up. No, okay, yeah, the one where he's under the cross. Okay, yeah. Hi, Arsonist. Welcome to the stream. What's up? We're talking about such normal things here. No, you're so valid, Nico. It's honestly like horniness alone. It's honestly a very well-made figure. Did you guys know that there's? I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret, because for those who don't know, the character we're talking about has blue hair, right? And the figure that we're talking about, there is a bootleg of it out there. And the way that you can tell if it's a bootleg or if it's the real figure is you check if they colored the pubic hair to the same color as the hair. Because bootlegs usually don't recolor the pubic hair to blue, but the original figure does have blue pubic hair. And that's how you check if it's original. That was Hitomi's fun fact of the day. Aren't you glad that you can learn new things on my streams? It's a very nice figure though. If anyone is like interested in what we're talking about, literally just look up Dramatical Murder Cross and you'll find it. And like when I looked it up, like it shows me the photos with like where his junk is covered. So it's not even a scary thing to look up. I don't know who's worse, the MC on the game or Tommy for those 3 minutes. This is just usual me. I don't have any like adult figures because I still live with my parents and there is no way I could ever explain that. It's also the same reason I never got a body pillow, because the thing is I'm very much like a cuddling type of person, so I usually cuddle either like a plushie or my duvet, and I would love to have a body pillow, not for like horny reasons or whatever, it's just because I would love to cuddle that, but I don't want to get like just the filling without some anime hottie on it, because I feel like that defeats the purpose completely. But I can't get an anime hottie on it because I would have to explain that to my parents, and that is unexplainable. But there's been actually there is a very specific body pillow I really wanted that like I could have gotten because it's from like a company that like I'm friends with the owner, but like I could not explain that one. Can I find it real quick? Okay, I'm gonna link it to you guys, but like just so you know, okay, just so you know, if you open this page, it might immediately show you a penis. So look at this with discretion. Thank you. What's very interesting to me is that they made a gender bend version of the same character here. Anyway, if money and my parents were not a concern, I would love to own that. I would love to own him. Sorry. No, but here's the thing. You know what I would love? I would love to have like a custom one where I have the penis version on one side and the pussy version on the other side. For ultimate bisexuality, you know? Hey, it's my height almost. How tiny are you? Nico, you didn't tell me you're tiny. 153 centimeters. You're 153 centimeters. You could be at my armrest. That's crazy. Chest pocket size. Tell him. Oh my god. That's so crazy. You guys know how tall I am? I mentioned that once in a while. There's actually like I think like a wiki page or something that actually mentions my exact height. Because I've shared it before. But if you don't know, how tall do you think I am? Based on my reaction to Nico saying he's 153 centimeters. Wiki page. It's not like wiki. There's some sort of like VTuber. It's not like VTuber wiki. There's some other website that like there's like a little blurb about me. I'm 174 centimeters tall. And I also wear boots that give me another like 5 centimeters to further assert dominance. Hehe. So yeah. Armrest. Hehe. I wait for the day I'm actually like famous enough for someone to put me on the virtual YouTubers wiki. Cause like, it's dumb to put yourself there. Like, I know I could, but like that's dumb. I wait for the day someone like cares enough to make a page for me. Imagine needing artificial height. Honestly, it's just that I really, because I got these boots last autumn, and I like impulse bought them, and they've become my favorite shoes I've ever gotten. When I say boots, it's sort of like, it's not Doc Martens, but it's that style of a shoe, right? Like a very typical Doc Martens kind of shoe. And yeah, they do add like 2 inches of height, but they're so cool looking. Anyway, I'm gonna have a drink and then we'll like play the game or something. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed the little tangent. Play a game here? I mean, I can yap. If you want me to yap, we're bullying random chatters. Wow, Nico, they called you random. How is Nico gonna respond to that? Ooh. Ooh. This all started because I asked if people bought porn. How's Nico gonna respond to that from down there? Give us your follow age is crazy. Oh my god. Oh, hi, Polax! The VN is going great. We're clearly playing it. Hi, nice to see you here. The only time I ever hear of Doc Martens is when people are talking about butch lesbian tire, just putting that out there. Like, that makes sense, but like, I don't know, like, I see a lot of people wear like Docs or similar shoes. Maybe it's just like a thing in Poland that I see them so often. You guys are bullying him for following me for only 2 months. But I don't know, like my fashion style is very much like I just randomly wear whatever shit I think is cool. One day I might look like a butch lesbian, and I have been told before and with certain outfits that I look like a stereotypical lesbian. Especially like in the fall when I wear like those like typical flannels and stuff. Another day I'll wear like Lolita fashion. Another day I'll fucking look like a homeless man. I don't know. I don't have a specific style. I wear so many random shit. So, randomly, today multiple people complimented my shoes because I also have these really cool like rainbow holographic shoes. And it's gotten warmer here, so I was finally able to wear them to work. And people were like, wow, those are so cool. Feel like I'm getting too mean? Nah, Nico can take it. Entertain me. I'll watch. I'm putting Nico as the scapegoat here. It's called whatever is not on the laundry pile style. And some days it might be called whatever is on the laundry pile but doesn't smell yet. Is that is that too much to admit to? I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. I promise I'm not stinky. But I will wear a t-shirt twice before wearing it. Before washing it. I tried to fix her chat. This is too much. Okay, scratch the record. I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything. Girl failure. I'm just very lazy. Like, I don't think it's that like I'm like not hygienic or something like that. It's just that I'm very lazy. Oh my god, we didn't hear nothing. Anyway, moving on. Did you guys know that this is a gaming stream and we're gaming? Haha. I do like yapping though. And I wish I could do more like chatting streams, but I'm always like worried that if I do like a dedicated chatting stream, then like I'll get like 20 minutes in and suddenly like chat will be dead. I will run out of things to talk about. It will be just awkward as fuck. You know what I mean? Like that is the paranoia I have as a small streamer. That I'm terrified to do dedicated chatting streams. And I wonder at what kind of like popularity and chat activity that fear will finally dissipate. It's fucking hard, not gonna lie. That's what he said. Sorry, I was reading yaoi at work again. I didn't have anything to do, so I just read men fucking in the bathroom. Like, I was in the bathroom. I mean, the men probably fucked in the bathroom once as well, but like, I wasn't putting penises on my phone in an open space. I at least go to a bathroom stall. It's actually so funny that sometimes when I'm reading like a very interesting webtoon and there's a sex scene and I really don't want to like, because sometimes if there's a sex scene I will just like close it and move to another webtoon so I don't have to like read that while there's people around me. But sometimes there's such an interesting webtoon that I don't want to stop. I will specifically go to the bathroom to read the sex chapter. And then once they're done fucking, I will get out of the bathroom and keep on reading at my desk. I feel like I can barely hold a conversation for a full minute. Making a just chatting stream sounds like a nightmare scenario. I feel like I'm pretty good at yapping, but like, if I have a topic, and it's very easy for me to sort of run out of the topics to talk about, and that's the fear. Yeah, I know we stopped on this line because this whole tangent started because the character was buying like porn doujinshi, and I started asking people, have you ever bought like porn in real, like physical porn? And here we are. My Pesbian Lorndo. my my Paygorn. So that's you going AFK for 5-10 minutes. What are you? My boss? Yeah, actually, anytime on Teams you see that I have the away icon, it's because I'm reading yaoi in the bathroom. How did you know? The boss makes $1, we make a dime, we're reading yaoi during company time. So real. I wish that I made a dime for every dollar that my CEO makes. That would change my life. But oh well. Hitomi's birth is named the Great Yappening. Anyway, gaming? In the end, I gave up and left. Damn.
帰るか。
Maybe I should head to Ad Cafe. As I walked along, uncertain of what to do, I caught a glimpse of a certain sword I recognized in the corner of my eye. Its distinctive shape, like it was split in two at the edges, was the same that Girl B, that is Senna, had been holding. Right? I could see its tip peeking above the crowds of people walking down Center Street. It was coming toward me, so I quickly ran into a nearby arcade. I hid in the shadows and watched as Senna walked by. She was heading to the station at a fast pace, the same scary look on her face that she always had. It didn't seem like she had noticed me. That said, after experiencing for myself how embarrassing it was to carry a D-sword down the street, it was hard not to be impressed by her. Wasn't she embarrassed at all while carrying that? The cops had to have stopped her at least once, right? I was sure of it. Senna was getting further and further away from me. Where could she get a cool D-sword like the one she has? The one I had bought didn't glow and didn't look that cool. Honestly, I was pretty dissatisfied with it. Compared to mine, Senna's was incredibly cool. Oh, we're comparing our swords now, huh? I have bought the D-sword as a good luck charm mostly. I have been scared to death and was ready to cling to anything that might offer salvation. After what had happened with Remy, I felt a little better, but the situation hadn't really changed. Chogun, Yua, I still had a lot of enemies out there. That's why I wanted a stronger looking D-sword. Of course, part of it was just that I was an otaku, and we liked to collect things. I died, sorry. As if drawn by Senna's D-sword, I found myself heading out into Scramble Crossing. I bit my lip. Crap. I hadn't wanted to come near the station. I didn't even want to go to Center Street or to school. I had only done it reluctantly because I had to. Being surrounded by people I didn't know made me feel like I had nowhere to run. It felt hard to breathe. As usual, the place was packed. I started to feel sicker and sicker. For a while, I just stared at the ground, trying not to throw up. When I looked up again, the D-sword was gone. I thought I had seen her walking over to the Hachiko statue. The crosswalk lights in Scramble Crossing had just turned green. Many people began to walk in many different directions. The area inside the crossing was pure chaos. It shocked me that so many people could each be going in their own directions without slamming into each other. Looking at it, I realized how impossible my delusion of an empty Scramble Crossing the other day was. There probably wasn't a single second in a year when this place was empty. Why was I chasing after Senna anyway? I couldn't even ask a cashier at Manga Darake if they had a dojin in stock. How was I supposed to be able to talk to that scary Senna girl? I mean, at least he's self-aware that he's a tragedy. You know? She might even be an enemy. If I walked right up to her without any defenses, there's no telling what she would do to me. I was being crazy. I should just go home. But just when I turned to go, I noticed a white chain lying on the road. Aww. Does she have two right feet? Well, I couldn't be sure, because the other pedestrians were blocking my view. It looked like it led all the way to the other side of Scramble Crossing. What was that about? It was an awfully long chain. Was it for some kind of construction thing? But it didn't look like anybody was doing any kind of construction. It was hard to believe somebody would just leave this chain here. Maybe it was for a TV or a movie shoot? No, they wouldn't do a shoot with all these people around. Had somebody just left it here, then? A huge chain like this? It would be a hassle just to bring it here. Either way, it was in the way of the pedestrians and cars. Confused, I looked at the people around me to see how they reacted. It looked like you could easily trip over the thing, but nobody was paying it any attention. I rubbed my eyes and stared at it again, wondering if I had just hallucinated it. But the chain was still there. It was creepy, so I didn't have the courage to touch it, though. It wasn't a cheap plastic thing. It was made out of tough-looking metal. How long had it been there? Normally, I would think it was a trap. I would assume something terrible is waiting for me at the other end of it and run away in fear. But for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about where it might lead. A kind of oppressive force was taking over my mind and telling me I needed to follow it. I stumbled into several people as I went, but I managed to make it to the other side of the crossing before the light turned red. The chain led to an old train car painted dark green that was sitting next to the Hachiko statue. The train car's wheels had been removed, so it was more like a monument than something you could actually use. This car was open to anybody who wanted to go inside, if I remembered right. The chain led through the car's open door and inside. There were a lot of people waiting around Hachiko, but nobody was paying it any attention. They didn't even seem to notice it was there. It didn't seem like there was anybody inside the train car either. I gulped and looked inside. Where does that chain go? It kind of disappears. It just kind of disappears. It was only then that I realized it was a trap. I didn't understand why it had taken me this long to notice. The train car had seemed empty, but there was actually a single person inside. Sena Aoi was sitting on one of the red seats, her legs crossed. Her sharp gaze was locked firmly onto me. For some reason, she had a popsicle in her hand. That shade of blue. It was a garugari-kun, wasn't it? Who the fuck cares what kind of ice cream she's eating in this particular moment in time? No, garugari-kun wasn't important right now. The strange thing was, I didn't see her huge D-sword anywhere. It was so big. Where could she have hidden it? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I could not keep my cool. The comedy in this game just writes itself. Instead of the sword, a white chain was coiled up at her feet. Okay, chat. Positive delusion, reality, or negative delusion? Reality. Okay, we have 2 votes for reality, 1 vote for negative delusion, and 1 vote for positive. A very, very bad feeling how positive delusion might go. Okay, well, we did get 2 votes for reality, so reality wins. I realized that when we had last met, she had said something about being at the train car. This must have been what she meant. So she had been the one to put the chain out there. Had she actually walked around carrying that huge thing? It had to weigh at least 10 kilograms and was probably over 50 meters long. There was something about this girl that was just beyond my understanding. She wasn't normal. Could she be Shogun? I got scared and tried to run. But then her sharp gaze came flying at me.
Hide.
Suddenly, I stopped. There was a note of command in her voice. It was like this train car was her personal possession. Of course, I didn't have any intention of going inside. I didn't know who this girl was, and I could barely talk to freebie girls anyway. I didn't want to get involved.
入れと言っている。
Senna's voice was commanding and brooked no dissent. She wasn't moving, but if I made the slightest move to run, there was no telling what she would do. She might be a really high-level Dokyun, the kind who wouldn't think twice about getting violent with a man. I was scared, but if I was obedient, it just might make things even worse. I had had to deal with Dokyuns a few times in my life. The best thing to do was always to run. Whether you did what they said or not, something awful always ended up happening to you. So, the best thing to do was to run. I needed to find a way to get out of here. Suddenly, something pushed me forward. I was caught off guard and lost my balance, falling forward like an idiot into the train. You can see that this game came for early 2000. If it released now, the MC would go, "Yes, mommy," immediately. Crying, sobbing, losing my mind. Shocked, I turned toward the entrance to see who had pushed me. There were a lot of people outside, but I couldn't tell which one of them had done it. Maybe they had already run away. Why did they push me, though? Who would do something so mean? I had hit my knee when I had fallen, and it hurt a little. I slowly staggered to my feet, being careful not to look Senna in the eye.
あれ
Suddenly I realized something. The coiled chain that had been at Senna's feet just a moment ago was now completely gone. She must have moved it somewhere, but I hadn't heard any sound. She had been sitting in her seat the whole time. And even if she had moved it, where had she moved it to? I couldn't see the chain anywhere in the car.
エラーはどこにあった？
Senna asked me another strange question, completely ignoring my confusion.
だから私をつけてきたんじゃないのか？
I shook my head quickly in confusion, and her expression only grew sterner. Finally, she looked away from me, sighing a little and nibbling on her popsicle. When she released me from her terrible gaze, I almost collapsed. I wanted to sit on a seat, but she would probably say something. I gave up on the idea.
お前が私をつけてきているのには気づいていた。私が作ったエラーが見えていただろう。
だからエラーって何？
鎖だ。白い鎖。
If that was what she meant, then yes, I had seen it. I have followed that strange white chain all the way here.
でもどこにもない。消えたよ。
消した。私の妄想だからな。
She can do delusions too? Illusion? What was she talking about?
じゃあ剣は？
お前も持っているだろう。
Huh? She thought I had one? Of course I didn't. This conversation wasn't making any sense.
それよりお前は何者なんだ？見えているみたいだけど。
は？
Senna glanced at me before jerking her head in the direction of the window.
この窓の外に何が見える？
Outside the window? People. I saw lots of people. There were even more than there had been a second ago. Just looking at them made my head hurt. People with their heads down playing with their cell phones, people laughing as they talked on the phone, people just standing and watching other people go by. Most of the people I could see from where I was standing seemed to be waiting for someone else. Actually, how come none of these people actually tried to come inside the train?
完璧な世界がそこにあると思うか？
What kind of question is that? What kind of question is that?
あるはずがない。エラーは確かに存在する。すべてのものは人も含めて電気仕掛けだからな。
Was this her weird personal fanfiction? I mean, I had similar fantasies all the time. I wasn't going to tell her not to have them. All the novels, all the movies, all the anime in the world came from goofy fantasies. So why were the fantasies of a novelist or a director okay, while the ones amateurs like me came up with were mocked? And what's more, think about it, all the great people of history had goofy childish fantasies. The Wright brothers honestly believed they could fly over 100 years ago. Napoleon actually told people the word impossible is not in my dictionary. You shouldn't make fun of somebody for having fantasies. All of history's greats had fantasies. The problem was, this girl had suddenly started sharing hers with me.
何を見ているかじゃない。何を見せられているかだ。人は体の外からの情報を五感によって得ているけど、その受け取る情報のおよそ 80% は視覚から入ってくるんだ。そして視覚から得られた映像はパルス信号となって視神経を通り脳に送られる。
It was kind of like a phone, I thought. A phone took somebody's voice and turned it into an electrical signal, and then sent that information to someone else far away.
電話か。似ていると言えなくもない。
We didn't say that, right? Yeah, we didn't. Why is she reading my mind? We didn't say that out loud. She read my mind! No, that was impossible. Had I spoken aloud without realizing it again?
VR 技術を知っているか？
Virtual reality? Of course. This time I was careful not to say it aloud.
ビジュアルリビルディング。
Huh? Huh? I was wrong. I had never heard of that.
アメリカの精神生理学分野で研究が行われている技術だ。
What the fuck is a psycho... Is that a real thing? Psychophysiology is the scientific study of how the mind and body interact. Huh. Huh. Makes sense.
生まれながらに目が不自由な人でも目の前にある景色がちゃんと見えるようになる。ビデオカメラのような映像機器を介してな。
Okay, now we're just dreaming. Not... No. Just like a video camera? No.
どうやってという顔しているな。だが、
Quite simple.
仕組みとしては単純
The
な話。
principle is that I made it the fuck up.
ビデオカメラが映した映像も脳を流れる神経パルスもどちらも突き詰めれば電気による信号なんだぞ。
Every time I see a pretty woman, I can feel the psychophysiology working. Thank you. Thank you.
要は神経パルスにコンバートできる技術さえあればいい。
Yes. All you need to do is convert a video into nerve impulses. How simple.
すでに実際にテストは成功している。ある研究チームが特許を取得済みだ。
Okay, so this is where we're getting into the bullshit science part of the game. Wonderful. A patent. Was that true? It felt like a really well thought out delusion, but what kind of delusion includes stuff about patents? That's so true. I hate that he's right. Like, if you're gonna have a delusion, why are you thinking about patenting things?
その特許から読み取れることがある。
Senna turned her gaze away from the window and toward me. She crossed her legs again, slowly.
ある意図的な情報を神経パルスへコンバートすることが可能なら。
The fuck you mean that high, Sir Shot? Oh my god. The community reflects the streamer, and yet I know how to do maths.
人の五感すべて、さらには人の意志そのものもコントロールできるんじゃないか。
The train was right in front of Shibuya Station, but it was strangely quiet. It felt like the sound was being shut out. Of course, it was just my imagination, but I remembered an empty Shibuya I had seen days ago and couldn't take my eyes off the crowd outside.
さっき言ったように、人は電気仕掛けだ。脳だけじゃなく、全身に張り巡らされている神経にも電気が通っている。つまり、肉体的な動きまでも操れるということになるんだ。理論的にはな。
Ooh, mind control. Ooh. This girl. I was in shock. She was more delusional than even you are or me. What she said sounded logical on the surface. Kind of. But it was clearly just a fantasy.
事実、特許を取得した研究チームもその方向へと研究内容をシフトしている。あまりに危険すぎる内容だったから、アメリカ大統領が歯止めをかけようとして行政命令を出したくらいだ。
How much of what she was saying was actually true?
いかなる機関であろうと、政府との事前合意なしに人体の機密の研究を行うことを禁じる。それを支援することも同様である。とな。
Senna looked down. She tightly clenched her fists as they rested in her lap.
だが世の中は腐った連中ばかりだ。倫理を無視して自分の利益のためだけに他者を平気で犠牲にするような連中がな。ヘドが出る。
She put the last of the melting Garogari-kun popsicle into her mouth, then stood up. I stepped back, only to find my back against the wall.
無知は罪だ。知らない方が幸せなこともあるという人間もいるが、そんなのはただの甘えだ。世界を疑え、仕組みを知れ。この世界は完璧じゃない。
She was walking toward me. I thought she might punch me and try to shield myself with my arms, but Senna just walked straight past me.
お前の見ている景色は本物か?
She whispered as she passed me without so much as a glance my way. And then she left the train. I watched Senna walk away through the train car's window, standing there in shock. She disappeared into the crowd without turning around once. In the end, I never did figure out what she was trying to say. The one thing I could tell was that she really hated the world. A completely typical teenager, I guess. From my perspective, having to listen to all that crazy stuff was just a nuisance. Right? The way she spoke made it sound like she was a teacher giving a lecture. In 2D, the way she talked might be kind of moa, but in the real world, it just made her seem like a dokyun. But I was glad she didn't attack me. For some reason, she had this air about her like she might slap someone at any time for any reason. I felt like I needed to rest for a moment, so I sat down in the seat where Senna had been sitting a moment ago. A second later, a docking-looking couple came inside. Then soon after them, 3 docking-looking girls came in, and an old man and a young salaryman in a suit. Before long at all, the car was jammed tight with people. Nobody had tried to come in when Senna was here, so why had it suddenly changed? The voices of the girls and the docking couple were annoying me. I whispered "die" several times to myself silently before leaving. So yeah, this weird chick was hassling me. You have angered me! How dare you talk to women! Listen, Nightheart, you keep saying you're not into 3D chicks, but you seem to be having a whole lot of fun with them. You said one broke inside your house the other day. That's totally out of an age game! You've got some luck lately, asshole. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. Yes, I'll admit I've had more chances to talk to cute girls. But they're all crazy! Let's see how you'd react if they tried their weird fantasy shit on you. It's so seriously scary, man. Lol, sorry. It's all good. Even after I made it home, I couldn't get Senna's words out of my mind. Of course, I didn't think it was real. But that part about the patents and the executive order I could find if I decided... The executive order I could find if I decided to look it up. I went to Grimm for help and we started searching the internet. Grimm knew somebody who lived in the US, so we got their help too. Not that I expected to find anything. These days, nobody would believe anything without a source. Oh, I got word from Shiho. Shiho was Grimm's net buddy. They lived in the US and spoke fluent English, supposedly. It was BS? Like bullshit? It was BS, right? That crazy bitch. She probably thought she could fool me because I didn't speak English. Don't underestimate the internet! Glad that's settled. They found it, they said. Found what? They're translating for us. I'll up it for you. It's another troll? Huh, you don't trust me, huh?
もしかして
Well, I guess I can understand why given all the shit I pull. Want me to bring Shiho here then? Grimm had lied to me about all kinds of stuff. Usually when he did something like this, he would make me look at some disgusting mental browser crashling. But he even had a source and was saying he would invite Shiho. If this is a troll, I'm banning you from the guild. Okay, this time you can trust me. He seemed really confident. Maybe this time I could trust him.
そう僕はなんてお人よしなんだ
My heart pounded as I clicked on the link, narrowing my eyes so that I wouldn't be able to see it clearly at first.
なんだこれ
But did we tell Grimm about the conversation we had with Senna? I'm confused. There was a paper written in English with a strange diagram at the bottom. There was something in the diagram that looked like a human face. It said United States patent. Patent, so it was true. In other words, this was...
アメリカの特許
VR 技術を知っているかすでに実際にテストは成功しているある研究チームが特許を取得済みだ
It was real. I opened one of the 2 text files that were attached with it. It was a Japanese translation of an article talking about the patent. Oh yeah, it says prefrontal lobotomy! The Victor Kondra University Psychophysiology Lab is currently working on a revolutionary technology called visual rebuilding. Technology is intended for the field of therapeutics and is being eagerly followed by blind people all over the world. This revolutionary invention would allow the blind to see with the aid of a visual device such as a camera. To explain in basic terms how it works, the electronic signals generated by the video camera are transformed into nerve impulses, the one form of electrical signal that the brain can read. These signals are transmitted to the optic nerves and through them to the brain. Tests have been successful, the patent was issued.
特許本当に認められてる
What Senna had been saying wasn't just some silly fantasy then? I gulped and clicked on the other file. Official order issued by the White House, 27th of March 1997, strengthening protections of research into the secrets of the human body. No organization may do any research into the secrets of the human body without informed consent or support any other organization that conducts such research. This order will go into effect on 27th of March 1998 or earlier if appropriate legislation passes. William J. Clinton, President of the United States. I thought they would make up a guy. Why is Clinton here? Hi Artie, welcome to the stream, what's up? An executive order from the President of the United States. It was like something you would see in the backstory for a movie, but it was real. I clicked on the link too, just to be sure. I could read English even if I couldn't speak it. I was a lot smarter than the Dawkins I went to school every day after all. The actual text was more or less the same as the translation I had been given.
ということは
Oh, so I just realized it says Turing test here. Are we just using fancy buzzwords? Sorry, Mom used something. Wait, why is... Do you think they also don't know what a lobotomy is? And they just put that? Because I know all this is bullshit, but like, why is Turing test here?
「ある意図的な情報を神経パルスへコンバートすることが可能なら、人の五感すべて、さらには人の意志そのものもコントロールできるんじゃないか。
This whole thing was getting kind of complicated, but knowing what Senna said and there was a source online to back it up made my skin crawl. It felt like there was some kind of terrible secret involved with all this. And what worried me more than anything was the fact that Senna had chosen to tell me this. Did it have something to do with me? The idea of controlling another person's will seemed to, at least. I still hadn't ruled out the possibility that I was sleepwalking. Supposedly the day the third New-Gen incident, Crucified, happened, I had been using the account Shogun to chat at that cafe. And I didn't remember Rimi at all either. I had supposedly spent over a year with her as a classmate and even gone to hang out a few times, but I didn't remember her at all. Maybe I had done all that while someone was controlling me. After all, there was no way a guy like me who could barely talk to pretty girls could be friends with a cute girl like Rimi. That's your argument? No, I was overthinking it. The thing with the chat, at least, was just a delusion of us. Shogun was someone else and just trying to set me up. I wasn't sure if he was actually the old man in the wheelchair I had seen in front of 107 building, but it didn't matter. It just makes sense, he told me, does it? It was even possible that Senna was working with Shogun too. Maybe she was trying to trick me. I couldn't believe what she was saying. I didn't know anything about her, and I couldn't trust her. Senna was no different than Iua. That's what I should be thinking, right, Seiratan? Don't respond. Okay. The only sound in the room was that of fingers on keys. Yua Kusunoki's thin, slender fingers were dancing on the keyboard. Her gaze was locked on the monitor. She was typing while looking at the keyboard with barely any spelling errors. She was writing an email. A long one, too. She had spent 30 minutes already thinking about what to write and then going back and changing it. Suddenly her fingers stopped. She let out a sad sigh and suddenly pressed down hard on the backspace key. The cursor on the screen began to scroll quickly towards the left. Everything she had written vanished in a flash as it went. When it was all gone, Yua brought her Gara Froggy plush over from her bed and gave it a tight squeeze. It was a habit of hers lately. If she wasn't holding something tightly, the fear would overtake her. Okay, I'm kind of cold. I'm gonna, look for a hoodie real quick, okay? I'll play an ad so that an ad doesn't play while we're actually playing. I'll be right back. Hi. I put on this very comfy blanket type hoodie. And I am now warm. Warm. She pressed her head down into the stuffed animal and sighed a little.
私に勇気をください。
Toasty, Tommy. He toasty. She whispered to no one in particular and then pursed her lips. She put the stuffed animal in her lap and put her hands back on the keyboard. Letters began to appear on the screen once more, one by one, as her slender fingers typed. The message was, compared to the one she had just deleted, simple and short. When she was done, she hesitated a moment before finally clicking send.
送っちゃった。
The email was sent on its way before she had a chance to change her mind. She held the Gara Froggy on her lap tightly and stared at the monitor for over an hour. She hadn't expected an answer, of course, but there was no sign that one was coming. Room 37 was the same as always. I sunk down into the reclining seat and bit my nails in an attempt to calm my irritation. There was a reason I had come to Ad Cafe 2 days in a row, both yesterday and again today. That night, 2 days ago, after I had found out from Grim that Senna's story was true, I had gotten an email from Yua. It was, ridiculously enough, a request to talk to me again. Screw you, was what I wanted to say to her. Why would I want to talk to you after you lied to me? I don't have anything to talk to you about anyway. Obviously, this is just part of some new trap. I'm not going to waste time talking to you. Sure, I wasn't used to talking to girls. That's why I had gotten so excited when Yua tried to be friendly with me. But behind my back, she thought I was an idiot. And then there was that weird delusion of hers. Sure, I had delusions myself, but I didn't bother other people with them. But her, that crazy bitch, had practically called me the new gen killer. I'd never forgive her. Hi, Devil Hunter! Welcome to the stream! How are you doing? I decided to just ignore it, but there was one problem. The email said she would come visit the base. She knew where it was, so if she wanted to, she could. That's why I had come here, to Ad Cafe, even though it wasn't a school day. I wanted to take the D-sword with me for protection, but unlike Senna, I lacked the courage to carry that thing through Center Street. Spending almost half a day in a net cafe was kind of exhausting, though. Oh no! I didn't have the software ready, wait. There. Quick stretch, okay. Oh. Thank you for the pats. Thank you for the stretch. Oh. Spending almost half a day in a net cafe was kind of exhausting, though. The reclining seat was comfy, and there was even a shower in the place, but it wasn't as relaxing as the base. And the biggest problem of all was that Saratan wasn't here. After 2 days holed up in that cafe, I had come to realize how much she meant to me. I wanted to go home now. But I had decided I would stay here until midnight at least. By then, the trains would stop running, and even Yua wouldn't be able to stay out that late. It would be another 4 hours until midnight. If I played some ESO, the time would fly, but... I looked over at the monitor. My second character, Lizelotte, was standing there, doing nothing.
お前の見ている景色は本物か?
I remembered what Senna said. Over half of what she had told me was true. The one thing I hadn't been able to find a source for was that stuff controlling people's will, or their bodies. Maybe that part was just Senna's delusion. Mixing in a little lie of the truth was something that blackmailers and other people who wanted to make threats often did, because it worked. I knew that, at least in my head, but after all the strange things that had happened to me over the past few weeks, I still couldn't help but feel scared. I stared at Lizelotte on the screen.
リーゼロって、お前の見ている景色は本物か?
I whispered so that nobody around me could hear. I have thought about something similar a bunch of times. Baselard, Lizelotte's world, the world that I was looking at right now, was real to her, but to me it was fake. Which meant that the person controlling me was seeing my world, and it was fake too. But just as Lizelotte couldn't see her controller because he was in a higher dimension, I couldn't see the person controlling me either. Did Lizelotte ever think about things like this? She couldn't even move unless I told her to. So, what about me? Could I even get out of this reclining seat if the person controlling me didn't want me to? I tried to stand up just to see if I could. I succeeded easily. Then I tried sitting down. I did it without difficulty. Was what I just did done of my own will? Or was the person controlling me telling me what to do? I didn't have any way to tell.
Eh?
I heard the sound of the door to my booth opening. I sensed somebody come in. I turned around. Why is this bitch here? It was Yua Kusunoki. I was so scared I tried to scream. But Yua put her hand on my mouth. Her hand was warm and the scent of her sweat hit my nostrils. Why are we saying that? Why are we saying that?
黙って声を出さないで 出さないって約束してくれるよね。しないなんて言わないよね。約束してするでしょ。するの。お願い。
The booth was tiny. You up blocked the only exit. Okay, Chad, it's time for you to choose. Reality, positive delusion, or negative delusion? What kind of fate awaits our MC now? I'm bad at decision. Okay, we have one vote for positive, one for negative. Hitomi makes the decisions in that relationship. Come on, everyone knows I wear the pants in that relationship. Okay, Chad couldn't decide. We got one vote for each, so I'm gonna make the decision. Let's do a negative delusion and see how bad it gets. The next thing I knew, she had pinned my shoulders with incredible strength. I couldn't get up from the seat. Her cold gaze pierced me from point-blank range. I looked away, unable to bear her gaze, and saw the free gear of froggies in her shoulder bag.
いい？声を出さないで。
Her hand slowly moved away. I tried to shout, but she put her hand over my mouth again. I couldn't breathe.
どうして声を出すの？約束したのに。したよね。したって言って。したでしょ。したよ。
The way every next voice line was like lower and lower voice was so freaky. She was pressing on my jaw with incredible strength. My fear reached its peak and my knees started to buckle. All I could do was nod desperately as she spoke to me in her cold voice. She finally weakened her grip, but she didn't let go like she had done a moment ago. Shit. She was a real stalker. How had she found me here?
ごめんなさい。
What? What? He? He? She whispered softly enough that nobody around us could hear. Her voice was weak and powerless again. It was like she had two personalities. This woman was crazy.
驚かせちゃいましたよね。でも、西条くんとお話しするには、こうするしかなかったんです。
No, I feel like there's also a way where you ask? Where you approach someone without a murderous intent? I don't know if that's such a crazy idea, such an out there idea. She is the one who has DID. I thought it could be that, but then like, would she be aware and like switch this fast? Like, it could have been a red herring where like she was looking up DID because she has DID. Like, I don't know. She looked so apologetic that she actually made me feel a little guilty. She was one hell of an actress.
昨日、あなたの家に行ったんですけど、いませんでしたよね。夜まで待ってたんですけど。うん、 でも私を避けようとする西条くんの気持ちはよくわかります。私西条くんのこと騙してたわけだし。
If you know that, then just leave me alone. Then just leave me alone. I had nothing to say to one of Shogun's servants, particularly the sort of an awful person who would try to trick and trap someone as helpless as me.
でもお願いです。一つだけ言わせてください。これ以上あなたが傷つくのもあなたが不幸になるのもあなたのせいで不幸になる人が出るのも見たくないんです。
What was she talking about? She was making it sound like she knew everything about me. She hadn't even spent a full day with me. What could she possibly understand? Was this another of her crazy delusions? I started to flail my limbs about in fear. But Yua wouldn't let go. She might kill me at this rate. Had Shogun given up on trying to trap me and sent Yua as an assassin instead? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
ごめんなさい。お願いだから静かにしてください。話はすぐ終わりますから。
This isn't what? Murdering me? Her voice was shaking, but her hands were so strong, and holding me so tightly that I couldn't even move. I couldn't believe her tiny hands could have so much power.
西条くん。
She got closer. I desperately looked away.
もう
Suddenly I realized her hands were shaking. Or was my shaking just being transferred to her hands? Then she said something I couldn't believe.
人を殺すのはやめてください。
She actually still believes we're killing everyone? Okay. What?
自覚がないんですね。でもそれも私には理解できます。
They both have DID?
西条くんに自覚があるはずないから。
What was she saying?
あなたは
There was a sadness in her eyes. She had been staring straight at me, but suddenly her gaze turned downward.
DID 多重人格なんです。
I'm diagnosing you! I had multiple personalities?
最初はあなたのこと警察に突
What
き出
happened
す
to
つ
her
もりでした。
eyes? She kept talking despite my confusion.
それが無理ならこの手でとも思ってました。
If you're not gonna stop the murders, then I will start the murders. What a threat.
だけどあなたのこと調べていくうちに
The more I fell in love with you.
あなたも苦しんでるんだって分かって。
Her eyes were looking into mine again. They were pleading with me. And the way it seemed like she was really worried about me. It made me shiver.
私あなたを助けたい。
Her delusions were getting out of control. Nothing she said made any sense. Wait, really? Did it really not make sense?
だから病院に行きましょう。
I didn't understand myself. I had used the nickname Shogun in a chat without even knowing it. I was friends with a girl named Rimi without having any memories of her. Maybe I wasn't sleepwalking. Maybe there wasn't some being from a higher dimension controlling me. Maybe the person controlling me was in fact inside my mind the whole time. And me who wasn't me. Another personality who wasn't me. Multiple personalities. My head ached. There was a painful stinging in my temples. This was impossible. It couldn't be true. I wasn't going to believe it. It was just a delusion of Yua's. She was my enemy. She was getting in my way. She was trying to trap me. She was trying to destroy my mind. And the hospital was under Shogun's influence too. The one person I could trust, Dr. Takashina, had disappeared so suddenly that I knew something must have happened to him. Shogun must have killed him, and if I did what Yua said, I would be killed too. There was no way I was going to believe this woman. I don't believe her. 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 My brain shut down. I pushed her as hard as I could. That was a funny voice, like. She fell back into the wooden partition door and collapsed to the ground in pain. Finally free from her grip, I grabbed my bag and stepped over her into the corridor. She grabbed my ankles, still crouched on the ground. Her hair was a mess and her glasses had slid down onto her nose. She was clinging to me as hard as she could. I was so scared I let out a miserable scream. She was my enemy. She was working with Shogun. I wouldn't let her fool me. I wouldn't let her fool me again. I screamed and she let go. I ran while I had the chance. I slammed down a 5,000 yen bill from my wallet into the counter in front of the astonished clerk. Then I ran into the elevator outside without even waiting for my change. When it hit the ground floor, I dashed outside. The sun had already set. I looked around. There were so many people around. Run. I just had to run. It was too dangerous to go back to the base. She would follow me there. I started to run without even knowing where I should go. The thought of Yua coming out of the other elevator any second now and fretting me with her cold voice made me feel like I needed to get out of there as soon as possible. I ran and ran, stopping again and again to look behind me. The other pedestrians kept getting in my way. I slammed into salarymen and docking-looking high school girls. Each time they would curse at me. But I ignored them and kept running. It hurt to breathe. I had chosen my path randomly, so I didn't even know where I was. I stopped to catch my breath, and I looked around at my surroundings. I was in front of the Maruichi building. I was close enough to Miyashita Park that I could escape there. I would rest a little, and then keep running. If I could get to Yoyogi Park, there would be any number of places to hide. Maybe I could spend the night there. I couldn't stop worrying about whether or not Yua was following me. I couldn't see her anywhere. But she might show up at any second with that placid, emotionless face of hers. My instincts drove me forward. Run! Run! When I made it to the bridge in Miyashita Park, I flopped right down onto the ground. I had run so much my throat was parched. I wanted an ice-cold soda. But I didn't see any vending machines nearby. Maybe I had run enough that I was safe now. No, I couldn't be sure. I kept a careful eye on my surroundings. I assumed Miyashita Park would be pretty empty at night, but it didn't seem to be the case. I saw a salaryman walking quickly through the park, taking a shortcut on his way home, and an older man sitting on a bench playing with his cell phone. A group of homeless men were sitting together, and a man in blue was talking to them, a policeman. The police. Okay. What kind of delusions or reality are we having about the police, Chad? This is crazy. Reality it is. I gulped. Those two policemen had talked to me before, hadn't they? I hadn't heard anything from them. They said they would send someone to watch the area around the base, but nothing had come of it. Misumi had said they would come to school, though. What were their names again? I couldn't remember. I had told him exactly what I had seen during the crucified incident, but looking back, something in their expressions had made it clear they were pretty suspicious. Suddenly, the police officer standing by the homeless man looked over at me, or at least, it felt like he did. No way. I was overthinking it, I told myself, but still I looked carefully at what the policeman was doing. Maybe I made it too obvious though, because this time, he looked straight at me. I looked away first. There was no way I could win a staring contest with a cop. Had that policeman been looking at me? Was he just staring back because I was staring at him? Which was it? I couldn't tell. It could have been either. I waited a little, then looked back at the policeman once more. He was still staring at me, so I had no choice but to quickly look away. Crap. This time I totally looked suspicious. Yua was already after me. I couldn't have the cops after me too. I had to get through this somehow. I wiped out the cold sweat on my forehead. Then I took a textbook out of my bag as I sat there on the ground. I pretended to read it as I watched the policeman. He took out something black that might have been a police radio and started speaking into it. He seemed to be reporting something. But the bridge I was sitting on was over Meiji Street, and the sound of the cars below made it too loud to hear what he was saying. This was bad. I was sure of it. I needed to get out of here, but it was too late. Trying anything stupid would be suicide. Since I had chosen to pretend I was reading a book, I needed to keep it up for a while or it would look suspicious. I needed to at least keep it up until the policeman stopped looking at me. And then someone ran into the park and right up to the policeman. As I watched out the corner of my eye, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Yua! Why did she have to find me now? Cold sweat beaded not just on my forehead, but my whole body. This was bad. This was extremely bad. Yeah, the reality seems pretty damn bad. Yua didn't seem to have noticed me yet, so I prayed she had just passed me by. But I wasn't going to be that lucky. The policeman was staring at me right now, after all. When Yua spoke to him, he noticed me immediately. I grunted, threw my textbook in my bag, and got ready to get up off the ground. I was ready to run at any time. The two of them had a short conversation and then looked at me. Don't look at me. Yua pointed in my direction. He was explaining something to the officer. That bitch! Damn her! I was a peaceful guy, but I was about ready to snap. She had turned me over to the police. And what she had told me was that insane delusion she had come up with in her head. That I was the new gen killer. Maybe she'd be satisfied now, but what about me? How was I supposed to deal with the false accusation? But of course, nobody heard my internal scream. The police officer began to head toward me at a fast pace. I stood up. Shit, shit, shit! She had trapped me. She was trying to destroy me. What do I do? What do I do? Should I try talking to the policeman? Should I tell him it was all a delusion of hers? I didn't do anything. I'm an innocent, upstanding citizen. No way. There is no way that would work. In our society, there's no doubt about who the cop would believe between a creepy otaku like me or a normal-looking teenage girl like Yua. He probably wouldn't even give me a chance to talk. I had to get out of here. By the time the thought entered my brain, I had already turned around and started running. I crossed the bridge and headed down the stairs towards Meiji Street. When I looked back, I could see the policeman chasing me. And what was weirder, even the man on the bench and one of the homeless people were now chasing after me too. Okay, that's freaky. What? Why are they chasing him too? This is we chose the reality option, right? Like, what's happening? No way. Did Yua have the cops on her side the whole time? Was Miyashita Park filled with plainclothes detectives? Oh right, what if like the homeless men and stuff, like those are undercover cops? That would make a little bit more sense as to why they would start running after him, right? I didn't know what to do. I felt pure shock. It was so unfair that I was almost ready to cry. I didn't do anything. I did nothing. The cops were believing her lies. This wasn't fair. I wiped away my tears and ran down the stairs. I headed as fast as I could down Meiji Street toward the station. I ran through underpass and up the stairs of the pedestrian bridge. People kept getting in my way and blocking me. I started to wonder if they were doing it deliberately. Everybody started looking like a detective. I was on the verge of panic. I looked back and saw somebody chasing me. I got a glimpse of them moving through the crowds just like I was. It was one of the people I had seen at the park. I couldn't tell which. But they were chasing me. I shuddered. If they caught me here, my life was over. I had been given the death penalty for a crime I didn't commit, and put in jail for decades. I would endure living hell for years, and then they'd say, "Okay, it's time for you to die." Please no. I couldn't handle that. I didn't want that to be my life. Even if I was found innocent in the end, once you were branded a criminal, that didn't disappear. Nobody would ever trust me again. Please no, I didn't do anything! I ducked into a small side alley and kept running as fast as I could. But since I had been running ever since I left at cafe, I quickly ran out of breath. My lungs were desperate for oxygen. My legs could barely move from exhaustion. I regretted not exercising more, but it was far too late for that now. Finally, I stopped, leaning forward with my hands on my knees and panting. I couldn't run anymore. I was in a place I recognized. The distinctive red brick exterior, the big lit-up sign reading Gigantus, whatever. I had come here once with Misumi. Back then, I would come to see Phantasm's concert. More specifically, its lead singer, Fess. Now, it was quiet and seemingly empty. Only the feeble light of a single vending machine illuminated the front of the building. I glanced back at the path I had come from, annoyed that my breathing wasn't going back to normal. It was a dark and narrow alley. The Toyoko Line's train passed right above me, the light streaming from the car windows shining bright against the night. But even that light failed to reach the darkness just beneath it. I squinted into the night. Had I ditched the police in Yua? It was too dark to see.
私についてきて。
I heard a voice right next to my ear and let out a pathetic scream as I fell back. It was Fess. She was dressed in the elaborate outfit she wore for her concerts. As she quietly stood above me in the darkness, there was a sense of fragility about her that hadn't been there when I saw her on the stage. It was too dark to guess at the look on her face. As I sat there, too shocked to move, Fess offered me a hand.
だって、早く。
Her voice was calm, but there was power in it. She slowly turned her head, her hands still stretched out to me, as if to see whatever was beyond the darkness.
逃げないと。
How? Did she know I was being chased by Yua and the police? For a moment, I was cautious, but right now I had no choice but to trust her. I grabbed it and clung tightly. Her hand was cold. As I stood, she started to run. I was angry because of how exhausted I was, but if it weren't for Fess, I might have stayed there until the police caught me. Free donuts if you nailed that otaku. I wanted some water, but I knew there wasn't time. Fess kept pulling me onward. We went down narrow alleys, turning at one intersection after another. I no longer had any idea where I was going. I barely knew the layout of Shibuya anyway. At this point, I would just have to keep following Fess. Part of me thought for a minute that this might be a trap of Shogun's, but I brushed the thought away. Even if Fess was working for Shogun, there was nothing I could do at this point. My leg muscles were filled with lactic acid, and all the running must have kept my brain from getting enough oxygen because I felt like I was on the verge of passing out. I had to stop myself from telling Fess that I couldn't run anymore. Actually, I might have said it a bunch of times without realizing it. But Fess just kept running, without even looking back at me once. The next thing I knew, we were on a path directly beneath the highway. We were close to Shibuya Station, but there weren't many people here at all. Bess headed down a stairwell that led into the darkness. It felt like she knew exactly where she was going. When we got to the very bottom, she finally stopped. I let go of her hand and grabbed onto the stairwell's handrail, panting for breath. How much running had I done today? I wasn't sure if I had ever exercised so much in my life. It's a weird-looking CG. For a while, the only sounds in the dark, gloomy underground corridor were just sounds of our breathing. I looked up at the stairwell's entrance. Nobody had followed us. Had we gotten away? That said, I had never seen this little underground corridor before. It was close to the station, but there was nobody here. One of the lights illuminating the tunnel was on the verge of burning out and was constantly flashing on and off. There's a faint smell of rotting garbage. The place seemed to symbolize the underground side of Shibuya. If somebody attacked you here, you could scream, but nobody would notice. It wasn't a place I would want to come to alone. Still panting for breath, I looked over at Fess. And are we facing the reality? Are we deluding ourselves positively or negatively? Oh. Positive? This was the underground indie singer who was beloved by all the youth of Shibuya, the one they even called a prophet. And here she was, with a creepy otaku like me. It felt kinda weird. Beds. Beads of sweat had formed on her forehead, running in rivulets down her face. She was wiping them away with the back of her hand. I could see part of her bare chest inside her open jacket, peeking out above the camisole she wore. It was heaving up and down with each breath she took. Why are you looking at her tits? For all that her languid? Languid. Having or showing a disinclination for physical exertion or effort. Oh, so like me. There was something about her body that felt sexy and alive. It wasn't really moa, it was... sexy probably was the best word for it. Her camisole with the cross design was just incredible. There was no way she was wearing a bra under it. Yeah, I bet she wasn't wearing a bra at all. What kind of underwear do Fess usually wear? Why is this the positive delusion? It was probably sexy stuff. Black and red, maybe. But personally, I'd rather she wear something nice, like white with a good girl vibe to it. Wait, why was I thinking about this now? Matt's saying, please don't turn to something weird, and right after we have to read this.
追われてたわね。
え？
警察。
Accidentally. Oh, wait. Okay, he just said yeah. I nodded. It wasn't just the police, but Yua too, but I was too tired to explain that.
私も同じ。
Huh? What did that mean?
私が書いた歌詞と、なんとかって呼ばれてる事件との関係について。だって、しつこく聞かれたわ。
Newgen. Fess's lyrics matched every one of the cases. That's why her believers all said the same thing, that she was a prophet.
私、疑われてるみたい。
As the Newgen killer, huh? I had too when I had learned about her lyrics for the first time. I had actually thought she might be Shogun. But since she saved me, that actually might not be true. What was Fess doing there, though? It was just blind luck that she had been there to save me, right? It was right in front of the concert hall, so maybe she had had a concert today?
君が追われてるのは、なぜ？何か悪いことでもしたの？
チクられた。
うん。
あの女、僕のことチクったんだ。ニュージェネの犯人にされる。
Yua tried to get me arrested. Damn it, she and Shogun were on the verge of destroying my life.
そう。容疑者候補ね。私たち。
How could she be laughing?
僕は無実だ
I got so excited I yelled. My voice echoed loudly throughout the tunnel, but I couldn't control myself anymore.
事件を目撃しただけだ証拠品を勝手に持ち帰っちゃったけどそれだけ僕殺してない
それなら
Fess's voice regained its calmness.
きっとそれは導きなのよ。大いなる存在による。
That eyeliner looks freaky. Another crazy chick? That's actually the only valid response to that. Another lunatic?
君の見たものが事実だったか幻だったかは些細なこと。
That terrible, awful scene. Was it an illusion? Was that possible? It was surreal.
君が今抱いている苦しみや怒りは必要なものだったということよ。
What was she talking about? I was disappointed. I kind of realized she was crazy when I had seen her at a concert, but I hadn't realized it was this bad. They say there's a fine line between genius and crazy, but...
だから早く見つけて剣を見つけて。
I gasped. That's what she had said at school before. Find it, and you'll be saved. That's what she had said before. The police were scary, but Shogun and his servants were even scarier. I didn't know why, but they were clearly trying to trap me. And if I was going to save myself from, if I was going to protect myself, I needed...
disorder.
そうよ。
Bess's lips curled into a smile.
勉強したみたいね。
それなら手に入れた僕はディソードを持ってる
You've been falsely You've been falsely accused and think you saw the murder? If you really said that or not is of minor importance. What is important is that this makes for some sick lyrics. My new song is going to be a hit.
今家に
知ってるわ。
What do you mean you know? You know? How do you know?
見たから。
Huh?
君が渋谷のど真ん中を歩いていたのを大きなおもちゃを抱きしめて恥ずかしそうにしてたわね。
She was talking about the day, about the D sword. Ugh, I can't believe she had seen me. No, hang on. What had Fess just said?
おもちゃ
The smile was gone from her face. She glanced at me for a moment and then sighed. The air of ennui about her was so strong I was starting to get nervous.
偽物だと思うわ。あなたの買った剣は。
I wasn't that surprised. It was exactly what I had expected to hear, actually. Compared to the sword that Senna had, mine looked incredibly cheap. And it didn't glow either. And anyway, Fess had told me that this was the sword that was going to save my life. The idea that it was on sale for 10,000 yen next to a bunch of sex toys was just too lame to be real. Very true. Very funny. So I wasn't that surprised. Instead, I felt violently angry. Angry at the gloomy-looking shop clerk who had tricked me. Angry at myself for being stupid enough to fall for it. Angry at Fess for saying all these important-sounding things without actually telling me anything useful.
じゃあ
I stood up and stormed over to Fess. Normally, I'd never be able to do something like that, but right now I was desperate. My encounters with you and the police had scared me to death. And not only that, I had been through absolute hell in the past month or so. I was sick of it. If I was going to go back to my normal life, I needed that sword.
教えてよ理想のどうやって手に入れるのか
The look on Fess's face became very serious as she turned towards me.
見て
She held out her right palm for me to see. Then she motioned for me to stop getting closer as she made a fist. Then she flung her arm back, and with a sound like breaking glass, the empty air cracked and shattered. My eyes went wide in shock. Fess stared at me, her expression unchanging. Beyond the cracks in space, I could see a deep darkness. Fess stuck her hand in between the cracks and pulled. Hard. We get a cool animation, okay. Okay. And
ソード
the crack in space was repaired almost instantly. It disappeared as if it had never been there. The whole thing took only a few seconds.
は
Was that a magic trick? Or just a delusion I had seen? I couldn't believe what had just happened in front of my very eyes. It didn't feel real. This was something out of a fantasy or an anime.
この剣は命運を握るもの
The sword was the one that Fess was waving around during her concert. The one I had fought was a mic stand. It was shaped like one of those battleships you see in every sci-fi anime.
この剣は嘆きを収束させたもの
There wasn't a single straight edge on the whole thing, but it was sharp, beautiful, and terrible.
この剣は超越した場所に干渉するためのもの
It felt like touching it would cut your fingers clean off.
超越した場所って
I couldn't look away. My eyes were locked on Fess's D-sword. I couldn't help but ask,
異空間のようなもの
That's a pretty badass sprite. She looks pretty cool with that sword. Another space? This whole thing was turning into an anime.
同一次元上にあるもう一つの可能性あるいは妄想
Delusion?
言い方にあまり意味はないわ唯一確かなのはこの剣もその領域に存在しているということ
Did that mean that a D-sword was a product of Fess's delusions? The impossible scene I had just witnessed was a delusion. It didn't exist in reality?
そんなのありえない
そう
If Fess's sword was a delusion, how could I see it?
言葉に引きずられてはダメよ後ろを振り返ってみて
I was confused at Fess's sudden demand, but obeyed. Behind me was the stairs, and also... Hitomi was too stunned to speak. Fess was beside me, and Fess was in front of the stairs. There were two of the same person, the same place, and one of them was in her underwear too. Okay, I like that very quick, like looking there and back. Shocked, I looked back and forth from one to the other. Their face, build, hair, everything was the exact same. The only difference was their clothes and whether they were holding a sword or not. They weren't twins or anything like that. They didn't just look alike. They were exactly the same. I had seen lots of girls in their underwear in age games, but this was totally different. I had seen Nanami in her underwear when she was little too, so this shouldn't have any effect on me, but it did. Is that the underwear fest the MC fantasized about? No, MC was talking that he expected like the underwear to be like black and red to match her outfit, right? Fess was standing here in this filthy tunnel in her underwear. It was such an unbelievable situation and my head was spinning. I knew I shouldn't look, but I kept glancing at it anyway. It took a lot of effort to look down so I couldn't see.
ごめん
I found myself apologizing. This was just what I had been imagining in my delusions a few minutes ago. I had been thinking about Fess in white underwear. Oh, maybe I misremember. I didn't misremember? Is the game gaslighting me? I'm so confused now. Wait, what? Both of them spoke the same words at the same time. I gulped. My face was turning red with incredible speed. Partially, he mentioned he preferred if she were innocent white. Oh yeah! He was like, he expected them to like match her outfit, but he would prefer it to be more good girl type with innocent white. Yes! That's how it went. I had to come up with an excuse. I had to come up with some kind of lie. If a free girl labeled you a pervert, you were finished. You would be banished from society. Wait, no, that was important. But more importantly, what the hell was going on here? No, you can't. You can't swap here. No. No. I don't wanna find out what a dude is doing. I don't care. I was hoping to like end after that scene, but I was hoping it would finish because I'm getting really tired. I think I'm gonna like call it off early today. Sorry guys. I'm just literally, yeah. Yep. It was a very young yawn. I'm very EP. But we'll continue tomorrow! Yay! Thanks everyone for hanging out today. It was fun as always. This is a very interesting game. Let's save before I forget. We didn't even play for a whole chapter today. God damn it. Thank you for the head. He told me. Sergio, you can't say that. You can't say that. Oh, I died, huh? Why did I die? I'm back. Anyway, thanks everyone. And quick ad. My merch is out! Isn't it super, super cute? Don't you just super, super want to have either a keychain of me or like a phone strap so you can have me everywhere? Or a standee at your desk or a little photo card? And it's super cool. You can take a tiny Hitomi anywhere with you. Yay! And the pre-orders are open for another few weeks, and then it might never come back again. So get it while it's there. Go get my merch. It's super cute. It's super cute. The tiny tongue being held up by string is... Yeah, you're like grabbing me by the butt. And then it's like a phone strap, so you can like attach it to your phone and have me hanging around everywhere. Anyway. Oh my god, is there like random people like talking in the game, or do I hear like some voices? Am I crazy? Hitomi! Thanks everyone for hanging out today. Whee! Let me quickly see. Let's raid Roa. I'm hearing voices, man. Is she super cute? We raided her before. We found her for Monster Hunter Wilds. I hope you guys enjoy Roa's stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Chaos Had. And have a great day. Bye bye.